Hello everyone, I'm Judy Jackson and today I'm going to be talking to you about lunch. Everybody needs to eat lunch, whether they're at home during the day, whether they are working, everyone needs a break. And so I'm not pretending to do anything complicated today, I'm just going to make sandwiches. But even though they're not complicated, they are very special. So this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to make sandwiches out of cutters. And the cutters are going to make the sandwiches into shapes. So here is what they are. We have here some little cats, rabbit, elephant, gingerbread man, and those are simply rounds. Now, in order to make these, what you need is you need a set of cutters. And I've shown you some of the ones I have there, but I also have fun ones like an umbrella and a hand, and got the cat. And if you don't have any of these, don't worry, you can just do it with a plain, ordinary cutter. And I'm sure many of you will have this at home. And the good news is, if you don't even have a round cutter, I'm going to show you what to do, which will solve that problem. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to make these things out of ordinary slices of bread. Now what I'm using here is I'm using brown sliced bread, and there it is, slices of bread, and they are spread with butter and then with a piece of cheese or cream cheese or egg. And I'm going to show you afterwards each individual one. We'll deal with the cheese one first. I use sliced cheese, which comes in packets, like 8 or 10 slices in a packet. Don't use just any old processed cheese. The one I'm using is a very nice one, Dutch Gouda. And it really is a very nice flavour, and it looks good and it is easy. So this one I have done in the shape of the gingerbread man. Butter the bread, put on the cheese, and then you press the little man right through hard so that when you hold it up, you can feel it against your fingers. You can feel the cutting edge, so you know it's gone right through. Then you take him out and you have what is on the tray, and what is left is the shadow of the gingerbread man, which you can also eat. And I've done exactly the same with the rabbit and the elephant, and I've actually got 2 on this one, but the little pieces are falling apart, but you can munch them when you're hungry anyway. They're not going to go to waste. Now, what if you don't want to put cheese? You can use egg. And here I've hard-boiled an egg, and I've mashed it up when it's cool with salt and pepper and a little bit of mayonnaise. And that has made a sort of spoonable little paste like that that you can put onto your bread. So I've done this, and I have put a large hand onto it. So this one is going to be an open hand sandwich. What you need to do is press very hard to make sure that the cutter is coming through the back, and you can feel it. When you can feel the metal part, it's not sharp, but feel it at the back of the bread. And so there, I'm going to push it out, and you're going to have one lovely hand sandwich. So now the next thing. The next one is cream cheese. Now, cream cheese is just a fairly mild spread that you can spread onto things, but it does need livening up in some way. And so what I'm going to tell you is what to do if you don't have any cutters. And it's the simplest thing imaginable. I'm going to cut off the crusts of this one. 4 crusts, I'm just going to cut them off. And because it's sticky, I have to keep wiping my hands. So here is the bread with cream cheese, and I'm simply going to make 4 squares. You cut along there, and you cut along there, and that is going to make 4 squares. So I'll show you what I'm doing. 2, and they are not as geometrically perfect as they could be, but they're squares. So that should solve any problem if you don't have the right cutters. You could do triangles as well. Squares or triangles are absolutely easy, and it just makes it nicer than plonking a whole large piece of bread on the table. Now, what are we going to put on top of this? Now here is what I did with the others. I had these little round pieces of pepper, and these are Romano peppers. I love them because first of all, they have a wonderful flavour. Secondly, they're pointy, which means that you can cut off the ends and you can use them in small pieces. What else I have is tomatoes. These are called vine tomatoes because they're growing on the vine. I have to tell you, one reason for getting them is that they smell wonderful. They smell like tomatoes. They don't smell like supermarkets. And so you can get some tomatoes and then you can take a sharp knife and just cut the tomato in half and put them onto the pieces of bread. But if you haven't finished and you want to add something else, you can use French beans. These are French beans. I don't know if you like them or not. I happen to think they're lovely. They're the sort of things I will munch if I'm watching television or if I'm just not doing anything. I love cooked French beans. You don't need to have them hard, just soft enough. And so what I've done is I've got some ready here and I'm going to cut them up very small, and then you can also add those to your sandwich. So just bear with me for 1 minute while I chop the little beans into little pieces. And so here they are. This one is being decorated with the French beans and the tomato. What else can you put? If you don't have French beans, probably got a spring onion. Now I'll tell you something about spring onions. The white part is much stronger than the green part. So if you don't want a very strong oniony flavour, but you just want a little bit of decoration, I would go for the middle. And I would cut a spring onion in pieces and just make 2 or 3 little rings. So here we are with a sandwich with tomato and the little spring onion rings. What else is there? Well, there's simply lettuce. Most people have lettuce at home, and so I'm going to take off some of the outer leaves of this lettuce here, and I'm just going to slice a few little tiny slivers of the lettuce and pop it onto the other 2 sandwiches, and then there they are, ready, white and green. It's all about just putting something on it to make it look a little bit different. So there we have the sandwiches. Now, I promised to tell you what would happen if you don't have any bread. So, one more thing before I go with the bread. I did want to show you what to do if you're just using circles. These come from a set that I have here in a tin. And there's many different sizes of circles, but I don't expect you to have those. But if you do, you can pop them onto the bread like that and cut them out. And so then you'll have that size or that size, and you'll be left with a piece of bread that looks like it's got eyes. So you can actually make your own patterns on the bread. So I strongly recommend you to play around with them. My most fun cutter is this one, which is a jigsaw piece. Now I'm looking at the back and I'm making sure that it has come out, and I'm going to press it from the back. Here is the jigsaw piece, here is the cutter, and there is what is left of the jigsaw piece. So that for now is the bread ones. Now I'm just going to move that out of the way and put it over here. And then I'm going to show you what to do if you don't have bread. And here it is. This is cheese with crackers. It's the same cheese as we had before, the thin sliced one. And we also have some blue cheese. Now, I can see some of you muttering over there saying, I don't like blue cheese. But before you say you don't like blue cheese, I want to ask you if you've ever actually had it. And chances are you've never tried blue cheese. And the good thing to know about blue cheese is that it is quite mild. It's not tremendously salty. If you buy the best Stilton, it certainly is. But this one is called Cambozola Blue. And you can see it's only very slightly blue, and it's a delicious soft cheese. So what am I going to do with it? I've got some crackers, I've got plain water biscuits, and I've got these which are oat cakes. These are a little bit more solid. Both are very delicious. I also have some butter here, and you can do it either with butter or without, but if you want to, you just butter a biscuit like that. And we'll do one of these as well. We'll do both of them. There they are. Butter on them, and now here's the cheese. I'm going to cut across here because I want pieces, not points. So I'm going to take the point off, and I'm certainly going to eat that later on. And I'm just going to cut down, and the rind is on, but you really do not even need to take it away. And I'm going to put a nice little slice onto each one. Here we are. There is the cheese on the crackers. Now, to finish those off, I'm going to put something surprising. Blue cheese goes very well with fruit. It goes particularly well with grapes. And if you've never tried it, I really would love you to give it a go. So here, I've got two kinds of fruit. I've got some blueberries. So I'm going to pop a couple of blueberries onto one of them. And on the other, I'm going to put something which is a grape, but to tell you the truth, it looks more like an olive at the moment. Why does it look like an olive? Because it was frozen. Why did I freeze it? I'll tell you. Because somebody told me that if you freeze grapes and then eat them straight out of the freezer, they're like a little explosion of sweet something in your mouth. And it's true, they are really lovely. So all I had today was the frozen grapes, which look like olives, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of slices of the grape onto the blue cheese, and there it is, blue cheese and fruit crackers. So I hope you're going to try these things, because if you do, you will get a nice surprise. Now I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to put the biscuits on this tray here. So this is making up all the things that we do, and I'll show you once more at the end. But now I'm going to show you something really funny. One hard-boiled egg. That's not funny, that's just ordinary. It's in its shell. I just cooked it about an hour ago, and I did another one, and I peeled it. And then I put it into this pot. Now this pot is, as you can see, cube shaped. It's square, it's not circular. Now eggs are oval shaped, but this egg is not. And I'm going to show you a little bit of magic. I'm going to unscrew the top of this object. I'm going to pull out that, and then very, very gently I'm going to push up from the bottom something wonderful and magical. And here it is. It's a square egg. You've probably not seen a square egg before. If people ask you, where does a square egg come from? You just got to tell them it comes from a square chicken. So here is your square egg. Now, what do you do with it? Very simple. You can just eat it whole, or you can slice it. And I'm going to slice it to show you. Here we go. I'm going to cut it down, and you can see in a moment that each slice is nice and square. Here it is, square eggs. At this moment, I have to tell you that there may be a noise going on because somebody is drilling in the flat above or at the side of mine. So I do hope you can still hear me. So just to conclude, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Don't forget you can buy the cutters at Amazon or Lakeland. And if you want to ask me anything, go to my website, which is called The Armchair Kitchen. And so look for The Armchair Kitchen, Judy Jackson, and you'll find contact details, and you can send me a message if something doesn't work. You can always tell me. And one last thing, I want to show you a book. I wrote this book a long time ago when I had small grandchildren. Now I have big grandchildren. But this book is called Look It, Cook It. And it's called that. The strapline, as it is called Kitchen Games for Curious Children. And the kitchen games is what gave the name to my YouTube videos, because I think being in the kitchen and playing is a really fun thing to do, especially if you're going to have good things to eat at the end of it. So if you want to look for my book, also, you will find dozens of ideas, quizzes and games and experiments, some of which I'm going to continue showing in my series to you now. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that you come again and see one of my other ones. Bye bye.